What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today I'm going to be grading every single pick that happened in the first round, and then we're going to be continuing this every single day. So if you guys are new, feel free to stick around, like, comment, subscribe. You guys know how to do YouTube. I will be, after my next class, making a second round mock draft, actually a day 2 mock draft, so round 2 and round 3 should be really fun. Let's get right into this because there is a lot to unpack. Yes, every single team is in here, so it's going to be a fun ride. So starting off with the Steelers, we usually go just by division, so I'm going AFC North first. And yes, I'm a little bit biased. Feel free to credit these content creators. I did not have the time to be able to find each one of them, but for the ones who do the jersey swaps, proud of them. They did a great job. Broderick Jones, I originally gave this a B+. I was like, oh, I orchestrated that trade with the New England Patriots in my final mock. Had them going up for Joey Porter Jr. Was super bummed out they didn't go him, but now that I can look at it retrospectively, this is definitely an A- to an A pick. We need offensive linemen. I'm happy that Dan Moore's ass is out of there, and I think Broderick Jones could be a very solid tackle. Now that we could also potentially get JPJ, it's going to be even better. So I'm excited to update this. And when it comes to next round, I'm going to have all the trades highlighted, but I'll just mention them in this. Ravens going Zay Flowers. I think Lamar has shown that he kind of prefers these larger wide receivers, but Zay Flowers is still an incredible talent. I love him to death. B grade is a very solid grade. Maybe it looks a little bit low because I just gave like an A-, but I just think Quentin Johnston would have been, if he were there, a better choice for someone who prefers a larger wide receiver. I've just seen with Hollywood Brown, Devin Duvernay, James Prochet, smaller wide receivers don't necessarily work. But I'm hoping this breaks the chain. Lamar has been able to improve year over year, and maybe he's going to break the trend. But Zay Flowers, awesome player. He was one of my favorite players in the draft, so it's nice to see that it's actually going to be not so nice to see him go against my Steelers, but it is what it is. Then we got the Bengals stealing my number 4 player in the class. Got to give it an A+. Getting extra D-line help. This dude literally is Travon Walker, but maybe a little bit less athletic in terms of his agility. And I think he has better football IQ and a little bit more polish. It's going to be scary seeing him go against our tackles every single year, but I'm glad we have Broderick Jones and not Dan Moore anymore. But yeah, this is an excellent steal. I was hoping that, maybe they would, pass on him, maybe go Brian Branch, but no, they did the right thing. They did the right thing. So good for the Bengals there. Browns can kiss my ass. Chicago Bears, I was surprised to not find a Darnell Wright jersey swap, but I think this will do. Darnell Wright was the guy who I predicted to the Bears. It's a guy I've been honing on for a long time. I'm proud to say that he was the first tackle off the board. He was my tackle number 1, and I'm just very happy to see that, I don't care about being right 100% of the time. I try to be for you guys, but it's nice to see that my evaluations are at least somewhat accurate. And, I thought I've been on Darnell Wright offensive tackle 1 train for a hot minute now. And it's glad to see that, that was exactly what the Bears thought. And I was like, hey, there's 2 right tackles in this class that could start. There's one of them who could definitely start, and it's Darnell Wright. And they made that they added a 4th round pick and still selected Darnell. I didn't give it an A+ pick because I think it's like, this is the earliest Darnell should have went. And then also they lost out on Jalen Carter. So you could say it should be an A- because Jalen Carter could have been a Bear. But I think they're trying to build a nice culture there. And I don't know if Jalen Carter's immaturity fit exactly what they were looking for. But Darnell Wright, athletic, big, polished. I think he's going to be awesome. I really do. Packers then going Lucas Van Ness. I gave it a B-. Not very high on Lucas Van Ness. Felt like exactly the pick they would have went with. So can't really give him too much kudos for a guy who I think should have at earliest went to the Packers. Next, we got the Lions. I gave him a B-. I'm being very optimistic about this. And I was really surprised to not see Jahmyr Gibbs with all the talk that's been going on in a Lions uniform swap. We'll see if we can change that in the next couple days. But Jahmyr I gave it a D. I think it was really early. And I think, you guys have seen me. I've taken Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell to the Lions a multitude of times in the second round. So seeing him here in the first, I just think it was really early value, but still stuff they could have used. And, running back to our first Super Bowl window, I think that you could have gotten still better value next round. But again, they felt threatened by the fact that Jahmyr might not be there. They were probably thinking him as their bell cow, like their future high upside back. And Jack Campbell's a perfect fit. I was perfectly fine with that. I think I gave that a B to B+ pick range. So I thought, pick 34 was more designed for either one of these guys than pick 12 and 18. And they could have went after a wide receiver and a corner, which I think they could have used more. It is what it is. I'm not going to harp on it too much, but you never know. If the Steelers somehow, some way pass on Joey Porter Jr., you could get him there at 34, and I would absolutely rip my hair out. But maybe we'll see that tonight. Jordan Addison is next, getting an A grade. I thought cornerback might have been a better pick, so it could have been an A+ grade if they went that route. But Jordan Addison, you need that pairing to Adam Thielen. He was the last receiver on the board, and he's a really good one too. So excited to see him there. A little bit light. That's the only concern. Next, we got Jacksonville. I called this one when I saw the Cam Robinson suspension. I was like, dude, you can get Anton Harrison here. He could start out at left tackle and move to right. He started out this year at right tackle, so he at least has some games there. I think this is an A++ move because you traded back twice and still got a star offensive lineman. He was my OT2 in the class, and I think, and in Jacksonville, he very well might prove to be worth that OT2 spot. Colts then going AR. I gave it an A+ just because, you did what's right for the organization. It's a long-term project, but Steichen is used to working with guys of a similar build, but just not as much athletic upside. And, Jalen Hurts is amazing. I think Anthony Richardson could be even better. I love AR. I'm just very excited to see that he goes here to the Colts because I think it's a good spot for him to learn and develop. So him and Minshew can be a nice 1-2 there. Then you got the Texans. They traded up to 3 to get Will Anderson Jr. Stuck at 2 and got CJ Stroud. There was a huge draft to determine how much the S2 test matters in an evaluation. It could change if CJ ends up being a bust, but as of right now, people just do not care. So that's, it is what it is. I have it as an A-. I thought CJ Stroud was a solid B. They need a quarterback. I think that, I personally wouldn't have taken one at 2. I would have tried to trade back and get him, but at the same time, I really can't complain. A- is a really, really good grade. I can't give them an A or an A+ because they have picks 2 and 3. Of course, you're going to get stars. Like, you're going to get great value there. But yeah, love it for them. They're having a new regime there with a key offensive and defensive identity, and that's great. Peter Skoronski to the Titans. I love this to death. They went after the best player available and someone who I said was a dream fit for them. Excited to see that they're prioritizing the line and prioritizing just the future of the team rather than just the present. Saints. Yeah, you got Brian Breezy. I'm looking at y'all who got mad at me for taking Breezy so much. They need defensive interior. Kalen Saunders is not going to start for him. And Brian Breezy has all the talent in the world. It's a great spot for him to grow and develop too. So, yeah, I give it a B+. Solid player. And, I maybe would have looked at Will Levis because quarterback has more value. You have that 5th-year contract. But it looks like teams just aren't very comfortable with Will as a real leader. And then next, we got Tampa Bay going Kalijah Cansey. I think defensive interior is what you usually draft when you're in a Super Bowl window, especially if they're a designated pass rusher like Kalijah probably will be. But the more I think about it, I might raise it to a B- if their goal is just to get to that number 1 overall pick. And then they have Caleb Williams, and then they have Kalijah Cansey. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But, as of right now, not really a huge fan of it. Shout out to OCP Designs for the jersey edit because these people who are doing it ASAP, I mean, I can't do it. It looks like he's leaking his pants a little bit, though. We'll continue. Atlanta Falcons getting Bijan Robinson. My heart breaks because just like defensive interior, I think running back's a position you draft early if you're in a Super Bowl window. Bijan Robinson has all the talent in the world, so that's the only reason why I gave it a B because it's an upgrade. But I really feel as if this was, it just doesn't, I feel like it's a disservice to Bijan Robinson. He needs to be on a team that's ready to win a Super Bowl, not one that's kind of just, needs a lot of pieces. You need edge help. You need corner help, especially with Casey Hayward gone. You need potentially offensive line help, quarterback help, and then running back help. It's a disservice to Bijan Robinson, in my opinion. But, it's still a good pick. I wish Bijan could have went somewhere where he could have contributed a little bit more in the short run because running backs just don't usually last anymore. Panthers going Bryce Young, gave it an A. Don't really need to describe that. He's the best QB on the board. Patriots. I negotiated this trade in my final mock and had them going Christian Gonzalez at 117. So happy to say, finally got something right. But this is A+. I'm notoriously not super high on Christian Gonzalez. This was the one spot that was my dream location for him. I thought this, of all places, was where he will succeed. So when I saw him go here, I'm like, yes, he's going to be a star. If he goes to other spots, like Detroit, maybe he could become a star. But like if I saw him go to the Steelers, I would start doubting it. But him here on the Patriots, I genuinely believe that he's going to flourish. So excited to see him there. New York Jets going Will McDonald. I should have put the fourth. My bad. But Will McDonald, he's a very solid player. I don't know what the plans are for the edge room, but you are losing some pieces there, and now you add him to Michael Clemens as well as Jermaine Johnson. Edge rusher is extremely expensive, and I just trust Robert Saleh. I'm a little bit lower on the pick than maybe a B plus suggests. I just really wish they went Anton Harrison. But if you look at it on its own and their idea is, hey, we want this guy to start. This is Kayvon Thibodeau, which they see there in New York at MetLife. They see him all the time, but this is 80% of Kayvon Thibodeau. And at this pick, yeah, it's kind of worth it. Next, we have the Dolphins doing absolutely nothing because, we're not going to talk about that. Bills going Dalton Kincaid. A lot of people don't like this pick. I think this is their reasoning. So I think they wanted one of the 4 wide receivers. They saw all of them go off the board, and they're like, oh, crap. And they're like, all right, well, the Giants just moved up, took Deonte Banks. Cool. We know the Dallas Cowboys probably want Dalton Kincaid. We need a receiving weapon. And that's exactly what they got to grab. They moved up, and they grabbed a dude who's going to be an instant impact. He's going to play in the slot. He's going to probably play there as an extra tight end there in 21 sets with Dawson Knox. They've been trying to get a second tight end for a very, very long time. If people were talking about Gronkowski coming there, O.J. Howard, this is probably their final move. And Dalton Kincaid's a really awesome weapon when he's healthy. I just hope he stays that way. But yeah, I mean, it's not a spectacular pick, but it's still a very solid one in my eyes. Emmanuel Forbes, I'm giving you a B- because they need a corner, and his talent's incredible. He's just, he looks like a praying mantis, a stick bug that you see on National Geographic. So we'll see what happens there. But, I think that there were a lot better corners on the board. I was just being very polite by giving it a B- because I think his talent is amazing. If you use him in the right role, he'll be fine. But he's going to get bitched. And that's just the simple truth. Cowboys going Mozzie Smith. There was a jersey edit with him and a little version of him. So apologies about that, but wanted to give you guys at least a cool graphic right there. I gave it a B-. You guys need defensive interior. I was hoping maybe you guys could have traded back. And, that didn't work. But, Mozzie Smith's going to be a good addition. High upside player, just like last year. High upside player, raw. And, somebody who could definitely develop into a star. So I think that he'll be perfectly fine here. Just, a little bit underwhelming. And I was hoping it would be Anton Harrison. I really did. Next, we got the Eagles. I don't think I need to talk about this too much. I believe in my Eagles 7-round mock draft, I had Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. Yeah, it's perfect. I love it. I really do. Yeah, it was really disappointing. You guys can check out. I think it's an hour and 33 minutes and like 45 seconds in when the Bears traded their pick to the Eagles, and I thought it was the Steelers because everybody said if at 9 Jalen Carter's there, the Steelers are moving up. You can see my heartbreak when that happened, but yeah, it was a great selection, both of them. They had the best draft by far. Then the Giants moving up for Deonte Banks. I love this one. I thought I always was like, oh, Deonte Banks should be a Raven, but that's because the identity of the Ravens defensive back room is essentially Wink Martindale's. So, he's here as the DC for the Giants. I think that is going to be incredible. He has some flaws for sure, but he just went to the situation that's fit him best. And when it comes to corners, I think that matters a lot more than just their pure talent. Niners got absolutely nothing. We'll see about that. But yeah, today they'll have quite a few picks, and then tomorrow as well. Seattle Seahawks going Devon Witherspoon and Jackson Smith-Njigba. A lot of people giving this A+. I was really low on the Devon Witherspoon pick in the first place because I was like, damn, this is early 5 for a corner. The only reason I'm giving an A- instead of an A is because I think this organization has the eyes for deeper level corner or deeper round corners. And you could have gotten Jalen Carter at this point. So I think they still need defensive interior. I think they still need edge rusher. There's some dudes on the board that could fit both of those for sure. But I am a little bit concerned. For sure. I am a bit concerned. And we'll see what happens. Jack Smith and Jigba, they've been wanting to get that slot weapon. I know Boskin's ripping his hair out here, but, it is what it is. It's a solid draft. It's a really good one. They're both going to be big players. They're trying to win right now. Aaron Rodgers out of the NFC. They're like, you know what? We're going to secure our secondary and secure our receiving room. And that is perfectly fine. And then the Rams got absolutely nothing. Cardinals, they traded back and then traded back up for Paris Johnson. His dad, I think, used to play for the team. And it just shows how much control Kyler has over the organization. For someone who is arguably not watching tape very much, I am a bit concerned, to put it lightly. I'm a little bit concerned. But Arizona Cardinals going Paris Johnson, it's a solid pick. He has a year to develop as well. Kansas City going a local guy in Felix. I think it's a solid pick. I had him a little bit lower on my board, but still a very good player nonetheless in a position of need. Chargers, like this is probably a rare grade that you'll find. A lot of people will probably be a lot lower on it. I think that this takes him away from the Ravens, like I was talking about earlier, and then there's still deep threats in this class. So there's 7 rounds. Let's just wait until the end before I can maybe shift the grade down, where it's like, damn, well, Quentin Johnson was great, but you still do need a big play weapon. We'll see what happens. Things can happen, and maybe we'll get Tank Dell in the 3rd round, and that'll be great. So until the draft is over, let's hold our horses. As of right now, you took away Lamar's probably number 1 receiver that he could have wanted, and then you also, have yourself a succession plan from Keenan Allen. So I love it. I love it personally. Quentin Johnston's a great player. Then we got the Raiders going Tyree Wilson. I think this ends it off. Maybe we got one more because I know we got the Broncos who didn't do anything, but doesn't matter. Tyree Wilson, I give an A-. The foot injury made him slide, and I think this is a perfect spot for him to grow and develop under Max Crosby, who had almost 50% of all the sacks on the team or all the pressures. He's a good player. Just that foot injury makes it for me giving it A+. And then, yes, Denver Broncos, no trades or no picks in this round, but we shall see today what happens. So thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on the far side. Peace.